Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making my homemade creamy tomato soup, and my father-in-law gave me these beautiful tomatoes from his garden. I had so many of them and they were already starting to go bad, so I needed to cut off a few of the yucky pieces, but I wanted to use them, and so I thought I would make some homemade tomato soup. I also had a bunch of tomatoes left over from my last Costco shopping trip that were starting to go bad as well, so I needed to do something with them. I ended up buying those tomatoes, and then my father-in-law came and brought me a whole bunch. So I had like tomatoes coming out of everywhere. So what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to start roasting the tomatoes. So you just want to cut them up, and they don't have to be a particular size, just roughly cut them up. They're all going to be pureed anyways, so it doesn't really matter what size you cut them. And you're going to want to roast them with your spices and some olive oil for about 20 minutes or so on 350. It just helps to get the flavor really going. I love roasting my tomatoes before I make tomato soup, and tomato soup is one of my favorites. It's my son's favorite as well, and we eat a lot of it. But of course, like the Campbell's version has so much sodium and sugar, and once you make the homemade version, it's very hard to go back. Of course, you can't always make the homemade version, but look at this little tomato stealer I have here. As soon as I am in the kitchen, he's just he comes and follows and tries to steal whatever I'm cooking. So I'm just going to liberally season these. I've got salt and pepper going. Then I'm going to add some garlic powder, onion powder. I've got some Epicure seasoning. It's the onion dip mix, and I just put a little bit of that on. And then I've got the Clubhouse seasonings of roasted garlic and peppers and garlic plus. So you want to season really well because that's going to be the seasoning for your soup. So you want to season it really well and then get that into the oven at 350. Okay guys, so let's check out these tomatoes. Woohoo! They look pretty good. No, hold on, stay back, buddy. They look like they're almost done. So we're gonna go ahead and take them out. They have been in there for about 20 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and take them out. Trying to do this with one hand, not easy. But that's kind of what we're going for. You just want them slightly roasted. Been in there for about 20 minutes at 350. They look delicious. So I'm going to let them cool off a little bit, and then I'm going to puree them and then get the broth started. So now I'm going to get the broth started, and I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier or not, but my boyfriend went to the store and he ended up buying me some chicken broth and an onion because I didn't have either. I was going to use beef broth for it because I was just trying to use whatever I had, but then he mentioned he was going to the store, so I was like, oh, get me some chicken broth. So I'm just going to really finely dice up this white onion. I don't like too much onion, so I only used a half of a small white onion, and you want to just dice it up really finely. And then we're going to saute it in some butter. So I'm doing keto right now, so I'm trying to make this as keto friendly as possible. So I'm going to saute in quite a bit of butter, and then you're going to end up making, putting a little bit of flour in there to make a roux. Now, if you want it thicker, I didn't have mine as thick because I didn't want to add as much flour since I'm doing keto. But you would want to add probably, I don't know, it depends on how much soup you're actually making, right? But you're going to want to add your flour after your onions are all soft. So right now my tomatoes are cooled off, and I'm going to put them into my blender, and I'm going to puree them because I'm going to add that into my soup base afterwards, after my onions are all good. And you just go ahead, blend that up, puree that, and then we'll add that later. And then going back to checking on my onions, you want to wait until those are actually good and soft and starting to caramelize a little bit before you do anything to them. Like I said, I didn't add that much flour. I think I added maybe a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more, tablespoon and a half. If you can't tell by now, I'm not, I just kind of cook by eye. I don't really do a lot of measurements. You just kind of season to your taste and add just however much you want. So I went ahead and made that roux, adding my flour, and then I'm just adding some chicken broth, and I'm going to add 4 cups of chicken broth to this, and just adding a little bit at a time, letting that flour break up a little bit because that's your thickening agent. Then you dump in your tomatoes, and you're going to add a little bit of heavy cream. I added about a cup of heavy cream, and then you're just going to bring it up to a boil, and once it boils, you're going to let it simmer for 5-10 minutes. Kind of the longer that you cook it, the more flavorful it's going to be. I really enjoy making soups like this in the crock pot a lot because I find that it really has a good flavor. Now I'm just going to add some basil and some oregano. Once again, I just seasoned to my taste. So sorry if you're coming here looking for exact measurements, wanting to make this exact recipe. I just seasoned to my taste. So now I'm just going to bring that up to a boil. And this is the finished product, you guys. It is so yummy. I added some cheese. I would normally add crackers, but like I said, I'm doing keto, so I added some cheese and it was absolutely delicious. It was actually snowing here that day, so this really helped to warm me up. In any case, you guys, let me know in the comments down below if you end up trying this, and I hope you're having an awesome day. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!